Hello and welcome to Photon Videos. This episode we're going to be discussing a Nine Inch Nails song. The song is While I'm Still Here off of the album Hesitation Marks from 2013. I picked this song because it's relaxing and cozy. It feels very intimate. Plus Hesitation Marks needs some love, even if it doesn't love Canada. There is very little documentation for Hesitation Marks, so I wasn't expecting to find anything concrete regarding the actual synthesizer used. Though a forum post on Echoing the Sound notes that in the Austin City Limits show, you can see Alessandro using the Korg MS-20 on stage during While I'm Still Here. So that's pretty convincing. But if that wasn't convincing enough, I did some more digging, and guess what I found? Give praise to the man, the miracle, Alessandro Cortini, for delving into some of the behind the scenes for this album and the corresponding tour. And if you don't know who I'm talking about in regards to the name Alessandro, he's been the keyboardist, guitarist, and bassist for Nine Inch Nails since 2005. He confirmed in a forum post that the synth used was the Korg MS-20. This was under the alias Blind Old Freak, one of Cortini's solo projects. The MS-20 was used for the monophonic lines, bass lines, and arpeggiated MIDI parts. During the 2013 Tension tour, live performances of While I'm Still Here used the MS-20 Mini as an easier way to recreate the sounds. The Mini was also used for live performances of Copy of Running, I Would For You, and All Time Low. Let's listen to some music. The very first step here is, let's just isolate a loop that we can find our sound in. Just kind of keep in mind of the fundamentals here, and doing our best to guess which is a fundamental and which is an overtone. But with bass, it's pretty simple. So I think we got our sub down here. So we have these, which clearly are sliding around. And we got two kind of peaks going on here. So I figured out the notation here earlier. We've got the E, F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp. Let's drop in our handy dandy wavetable. Just right off the bat, let's get this MS-20 set up, because we know that we're recreating the MS-20. And there's a couple actual real cool things about this particular synth. It has an MS-20 filter model. The MS-20, as well as like the ARP2600 and the Minimoog, are kind of defined by their particular filter sound. If you don't have one of these filter options, that's going to be fine. It just means that you're not going to get the same distortion pattern and amplitude pattern, and you have to do a bit more tweaking. But I won't be doing that today. The MS-20 has two oscillators, and this one does as well, so that's fantastic, and it cannot do sine waves. So let's move them all to at least like a triangle wave equivalent. Let's also keep in note that this is a monophonic synthesizer. Click that. Let's listen to the sound. Awful, awful, bloody awful. But I think if we turn on some glide, we'll get there. So I found that 200 milliseconds. Glide is not working. There's a reason for this, and it's, let's just do it like its smallest little amount, extending all of the MIDI to overlap slightly. If you know a better way, at me, please. I want to know. The next step is to look at our amplitude here. It's a bass line. Make it look like a bass line. That means we have a little bit of attack. When it comes in, it fades in, and it doesn't go away until we want it to. I'm going to jump over to the oscillators here and change one of these to a sawtooth. So I now have a mixture between a triangle wave and a sawtooth wave. The sawtooth wave is going to go up now 4 semitones. And let's give it that shot. Okay, we're getting closer. We're going to shift that frequency back to a perfect fraction. Now, a big part of kind of refining the sound for this is the filter resonance. Having some resonance on the filter is an important part of the sound to amplify some of the overtones that really help bring in the kind of the chord feel. Not too bad. I'm going to pull up this thing spectrum. You can see and hear that I am selecting specific overtones to amplify, to bring to the front. The thing is, I need to move this around as it's playing because those frequencies, they don't stay still. So I can get the filter somewhere, but the moment I change the note, everything's all kind of f***ed up. So we need to take our note input and have that affect our frequency. Yeah. There's like an extra bass note in there, and I don't think that's the MS-20, just because MS-20 doesn't do sub bass very well. And also we've already used both of our oscillators. So I think they might be using either another analog synth or just another fundamental frequency, maybe like an octave down, which is something that we can do in Wavetable. Wavetable gets you the option to add tone to it, which I find brings it close to the original. That's how you do that sound. That's how it's done. It sounds a bit empty without post-processing and without any of its friends around it, but I think that's how you do the sound. Be mindful that there is the MS-20 sound and there's kind of like another bass synth clearly happening around the same time, which is what I've set up over here. Let's make sure that's in tune. Add some glide. And this is going to be the sub, so we're going to do a triangle wave, and going to do that an octave down. Getting the MS-20 mixed in with this, we're actually going to use the built-in mixer within this Moog here. Signal out into external audio in. Let's disable the Moog. Let's give that a retune here. Let's listen to just one oscillator. Let's bring in the second. Need to bring this up and offset this second oscillator here. So a little too much high end on the MS-20. Let's make that filter move with our inputs here. So we're going to take our keyboard CV out. Put that into our cutoff frequency input. Oops. I mean, filter stuff here is kind of to flavor the personal taste. I think that's pretty good, actually. Oh my god, I forgot about our sub. Hell yeah. And that concludes this year's episode of Synth Breakdown. Thank you for being a part of all of this. It's really fun. That's what I'm here for. I just love to talk about music. Anyway, ciao.